Well, hello there, and welcome to the final vlog for 2025. It's the 4th week of December. This video will really be the 4th week, and the 5th week. December is kind of like a 4.5 week month. Perfectly, isn't it? I just looked at the calendar and it's like exactly 4 weeks and then a couple more days and a 5th week. So I'm going to just combine it all together. And I can't say exactly what I'm going to get up to other than we are off of school now for a break. And so we'll probably do some spring cleaning projects and we will do a lot of resting. We'll play some games. We'll make some things, some good things to eat. And I really don't know what else. So we'll just have to play it by ear. We'll see what happens. I can probably guarantee I'm not going to bring you along for any cleaning projects because I think that's kind of boring to show you. Maybe I'll show you something after it's been cleaned, something that I really like. That'll be like, look how good this looks. So we'll see. Anywho, by the time this video has been edited and posted, all of the holidays will have passed us by. So I will extend you the hope that your holiday was lovely, that whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa, that you had a wonderful time, that your memories were happy, that you spent time with the people that you love, and that you had a great new year, that you were able to ring in 2026 with a sense of expectation for what is to come. Well, good morning. It is an early morning and I awoke to snow. I thought it'd be nice to look at the garden. I find the winter garden to be not as beautiful as the spring and summer garden, but almost. I think that's a picture right there. So enjoy the winter garden. for spring cleaning the kitchen, and I actually took down my valances and gave them a wash, and I just did a quick iron. Now I'm going to hang them up, but I wanted to show you the fabric before it gets all bunched up on the windows, and just talk about how much I absolutely love this fabric still. And here is just something, you know, like a little, I don't know, what would I call it? Peek inside of my mind. I don't fall out of love easily. So this pattern I bought years ago, probably in 2004 or 5, and made valances for my old house. The pattern was exactly like this. The only difference was that it was in gold. And if I can find a sample of that fabric, I'll show you. It was in gold, a gold colorway, and this one is in more like a bluish green colorway. So when we moved to this house and I decided what I wanted to paint my kitchen, I found this fabric, the exact same pattern, but with the bluish green colorway, which goes better with my current kitchen. And I asked my mother-in-law to make these valances for me because at the time I had all children living at home. And she did, and that was in 2014, and I still absolutely adore this fabric. I found it. I found a sample of my fabric from my old house. I made all of the window treatments for my old house. They were simple. I mean, literally like straight lines, okay? So I'm no seamstress, but I could do straight lines. And this fabric I absolutely adored in that kitchen in my old house. I painted the walls a nice gold color, and I painted the or actually I didn't paint. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law painted. They painted the walls a gold color, and then they painted the cabinets, which were just knotty pine, a nice deep red. Anyway, when we sold that house, I left all of the window, well, actually not all of the window treatments. I left the ones in the kitchen, and I left the ones in my daughter's bedroom because they were, you know, they only fit those windows. But this is a sample, and look how nice and bright it is because it's just been sitting in a box for all these years. Oh my word, I love this fabric so much. And so you can see, I put it up against this one. You can see it's the same pattern, just in different colorways. And this obviously has been hanging up where the sun has been shining since 2014. So it's quite faded, but still so beautiful. Brunch is literally my favorite meal of the week, and I adore soft-boiled eggs with this delicious pepper spread on it. And today I felt like home canned green beans, which might seem a little odd to have with my Stollen. And then this is a special treat of sauteed apples with pecans and bread cheese. Delicious. It's a very happy day because I'm at Merle Norman to get a manicure and pedicure. I do not get my nails done as often as I would like, but I definitely like to do it either before I take a trip or before a holiday, like my birthday or my anniversary, which is the reason for today's visit because my anniversary is coming up in a few days. This would be a fun thing to share. So here are two that have already been formed. They'll just need to be cut brushed with a egg milk mixture and sprinkle with sesame seeds and then cut. And over here I have one that I haven't finished forming yet. So I'll leave the recipe in the description box. But if you are not familiar with sausage rolls and you eat meat, I can really recommend these. These are one of my family's favorite little bite-sized treats. Jamie Oliver, whom you may recognize as a British chef, has a video on how to make sausage rolls, and I learned about them from one of my favorite YouTube people, whom I shall also link in the description box. And I made them for the first time about 4 or 5 years ago. And since then, they have been rave hits with my family. One of my daughters especially. So 2 years ago when she graduated from high school and I was self-catering the event, I made a ton of sausage rolls, because the nice thing about them is once you have formed them, you can just put them on a tray, which I will do today, and stick them in the freezer to freeze, then pop them off the tray, stick them in a Ziploc bag or a container, put them back in the freezer, and then the day you're ready to serve them, you just have to take them straight from the freezer to the oven. So if your puff pastry isn't sticking, you can just use a little bit more of the egg mixture. Okay, so then you brush it with the egg. This is just an egg with milk. You brush it with that. Sprinkle it with sesame seeds. And then I don't remember if Jamie Oliver recommends using a serrated knife or not, but I find using a serrated bread knife to be the easiest thing with which to cut. And you don't need to cut them on an angle, but it kind of looks nice if you do. Slight angle. Make them about, what is this? About 1.5 or 2 inches. Before I do the other one, I'll wipe off my knife. But then, just take them, put them on a sheet, ready for the freezer. Okay, so here they are, ready for the freezer. I don't know how many I have, but this would be a good amount. I do include the little ends because even though they're not exactly pretty, my children will still eat them and they'll love them. So I use a beef sausage. You could use a pork sausage or a chicken sausage or a turkey sausage, whatever kind of sausage you would like. Let me know in the comment section if you've either had a sausage roll or if you decide to make these. I'd love to know how it turns out. Okay, so I actually forgot that I made these last night. These are butter bars, and I made them a few years ago as a special treat for my girls to eat in the car while we drove around to look at the lights at this time of year. And so now they ask me to do it every year. Now the recipe does call for sprinkling some powdered sugar on top at this point. I personally don't like to do that because I don't like to add a lot of extra sugar. It's already pretty sweet enough. But if you like butter, and you don't mind eating a cake mix, because it does call for a cake mix. It's an old-fashioned recipe that I found in an old-fashioned magazine many years ago. But, you know, once a year, you can tell I snuck a bite right now because we haven't gone to look at the lights yet. But they, oh my word, if you like butter and cake, you will love this. I know it doesn't look like much, but it is melts in your mouth delicious. I'll put the recipe in the description box. For my event will be Tiropitas. Tell me in the comment section if you've had Tiropitas or spanakopita, and or if you like Greek food. So I'm using our Odyssey into Cooking cookbook that I was gifted. I think it was a wedding gift, but I'm not sure. This cookbook was published in 1993, and it was compiled and edited by the 75th anniversary cookbook committee from Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church outside of Washington, D.C. It was given to me by my yayas, yaya being Greek for grandma, my yaya's good friend, Zelma. So she said, have fun Greek cooking. So here's the recipe. I used to, back in the day, I would write the date on the first time I made a recipe, which this would appear. I made this for the first time out of this cookbook on 10/12/06, and you can see I changed it a lot. So that's the Tiropita is a cheese pie, and then spanakopita is a cheese and spinach pie. Which the spanakopita you can make in a 9x13, but I'm gonna make like the Tiropitas, which are going to be little triangle pastries of goodness. And for both I need feta. I have two kinds of feta because I was at two different grocery stores this past week. I need ricotta and a little bit of cottage cheese and also a little bit of parm. Of course, phyllo dough, because no Greek pastry is complete without phyllo. A lot of butter, dill, which this is dill that I dried from my garden. For the spanakopita, you need spinach. For both, you need eggs. These are from my good laying chickens I'm so thankful for. And also for the spanakopita, you need an onion, which I wish was from my garden, but if you watched my onion processing video, you know my onions did not do well this year. So that's the ingredients. I'm so excited to get started. I wanted to look up just to see if this church, Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church, was still around, and it is, if you're interested. It's located, or its address is Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm not sure if it's actually in Silver Spring, because when I looked this up originally, it said Cloverly, Maryland. But anyway, here's a picture of the church. It's quite pretty. I'll tell you what, one fond memory I have of childhood is attending Greek festivals at Greek Orthodox churches throughout my life. Oh my word, such fun and such good food. Tiropitas in so many years because it's very time consuming. And when I did it with my yaya, I was helping her. So she was the one doing it. She had an extra set of hands in me. And also my aunt was also doing it, doing the making of them. So it was a team effort. And here I am, a team of one. So it's taking me a while. And if you've ever worked with phyllo, you know that you must keep it damp or else it just completely falls apart. So look, I've got this big glob of phyllo that's now nothing because it got dried out, and so then it just completely tears. So I'm trying to be methodical about it by trying to do 4 or 5 at a time, and you have to brush on clarified butter. I'll put in the description box a tip I learned about how to make clarified butter quickly. And then you fold over one end, put in your filling, and then you roll it up kind of like a flag. When my yaya made these, they seemed to be more like a right triangle when they were all said and done. And when I'm making them now, they're kind of looking more like an equilateral triangle. So they don't have the same feel to me as they did when I was a child because they look like a different shape. But I know that it will still be good because when you combine, oh, of course, I'm just showing you. I actually had done a few to get a handle of it before I decided to show you the process. And of course, the one I just did right away looks like skata, which is Greek for you know what. Anywho, what was I saying? Okay, they're gonna taste delicious even if they don't look the greatest, because how can you go wrong with butter, phyllo, and cheese? The majority of which being feta cheese, and feta makes it better. So once you put it on the tray, you want to brush it with the clarified butter again. So this is buttery goodness, but what will be nice about it then is when it's baked, the phyllo mixed with the butter is what gives it a nice crispy texture, almost like paper. If you haven't had these, but maybe you've had baklava, you'll know what I mean by how phyllo turns almost like a light papery consistency. Anywho, these are lovely. Of course, the ones I made while I was showing you don't look so hot, but that's all right. They'll still be good. So I'm just gonna keep on keeping on and get as many accomplished as I can tonight. I had wanted to start this process much earlier in the day, but you know how that goes.